The Champions League semi-finals are set. Liverpool plan Camavinga swoop, Pogba signs a new deal, UEFA have let themselves down again, and the transfer roundup all coming up in the next few minutes. As I am your host, Matt Froelich, you are the OneFootballers, and this is the Daily News. So first up, after last night's action, we finally have the final four in this season's Champions League. Now, in the first game, Liverpool against Real Madrid, it was Real Madrid who made it through after a rather, you'd say, a good defensive performance. But actually on the flip side, Liverpool was so wasteful. They had so many good chances, but just could not find the back of the net. I do give a lot of credit, though, to the Real Madrid defenders and to Thibaut Courtois as well, who put in some stunning blocks, stops and saves to keep the score at 0-0, because going forward, they didn't really offer too much. I think personally, Courtois and Nacho were absolutely outstanding. Things could have been so different though for Jurgen Klopp's men had Mo Salah taken that chance in the first few minutes. If that had gone in, the tails would have been up, a lot more pressure. They only needed one more goal, this, that and the other, but they just could not do it. It brings an end to the run in the Champions League for Liverpool in what overall has been a rather disappointing season. It was another poor night, I thought, for Sadio Mane, who failed to find the back of the net yet again. Roberto Firmino doesn't look like the player he once was. And all in all in midfield, Liverpool just weren't really at it. I actually thought this could have been one of the last games that Gini Wijnaldum plays as well. Wasn't so great, his contract's running out, may make a couple more appearances in the Premier League, but again, looking like a really slow end to his Liverpool career. But like I mentioned before, Real Madrid have made it through to play against Chelsea, who made it through against Porto in their quarter-final. And honestly, if I was to pick a winner between the two, I couldn't really at the moment. I think Real Madrid are in good form. Obviously won the Clasico, beat Liverpool, only conceded one goal to Liverpool in 2 games. But Chelsea have been very good since Thomas Tuchel came in as well. God, this one is really interesting. I can't really decide. At the moment, I think Real Madrid might just edge it, but definitely do not write off Chelsea. I think both teams would potentially win their home leg, so it kind of might go down to away goals. Anyway, the other game of the night saw Manchester City set up a tie against PSG and what many are calling Oil Clasico. It's such a ridiculous name. But that's what it is. The internet has spoken. They managed to turn around a 1-0 loss in the first half. A 1-0 deficit in the first half to win 2-1 on the night, a 4-2 on aggregate. And honestly, it was another very good night for young English prospects, especially Phil Foden and Jude Bellingham. Bellingham's goal for Dortmund was so good. The way he dragged the ball back, opened his body, I thought it was a fantastic finish. But overall, and I think Dortmund have the right to feel a little bit aggrieved, especially from the first leg, it seems like refereeing decisions definitely helped Manchester City through. I'm not taking anything away from City because they performed really well, they scored some great goals, but in the first leg, that Bellingham goal being ruled out is an absolute travesty. And then the second leg, the penalty against Emre Can. Did it hit his head first? Like, it hit that part of his arm where I feel like that's where they draw the line for VAR. So technically, if that's a part of the body that you can score with, it's not also a handball. But then it did hit his arm further down as well. I don't know, it was a very tough decision. I think Dortmund have the right to feel a little bit aggrieved. But having said that, they weren't good enough for long enough proportions over both legs, so maybe Manchester City do just deserve it. Anyway, this game against PSG is going to be absolutely wild. Out of the 2 legs, I'm definitely looking forward to this one a little bit more. I think there's a little bit more attacking talent on the show, and we could be in for an absolute cracker or a couple of dull semi-finals. Anyway, let me know in the comments section which one you're looking forward to and who you think is going to make it through to the Champions League final this season. Moving on though, and actually talking about a bit of transfer news from Liverpool, because there's been a lot of talk about what they need to do to change the situation they are in. Jurgen Klopp will be staying at the club and they need to make quite a few changes. I spoke a bit earlier about Gini Wijnaldum potentially leaving the club. It looks like Thiago hasn't really made the impact that many were hoping for, and they've had quite a few injuries this season and they need to sign some players. Now, of course, centre-back is probably a very good option for them to go ahead and sign somebody, maybe make Kabak Sloan a permanent one. But in midfield, they've been linked with Eduardo Camavinga from Rennes. Everyone's been linked with him, but I feel like Liverpool do have a very good shot of signing him purely because they can offer him a position in the first team. The French midfielder has been linked with the likes of Real Madrid. Of course he has. He's a brilliant French midfielder, and Real Madrid are led by a former brilliant French midfielder. That seems like a kind of deal that could happen. But in their midfield, they've got Luka Modric, who's coming towards the end of his career, let's say, but Fede Valverde is ready to step into that space. And alongside him, there's Casemiro and Toni Kroos, who just show absolutely no signs of slowing down, and are still absolutely brilliant. The thing is with Camavinga, he decided to stay with Rennes for one more season from last summer because they were in the Champions League this season, and he plays a lot of football. Moving to Real Madrid is a good career move, but maybe not yet. I just don't think at 18, 19 years old, I think he is, there's any need for him to make that move. If he's good enough, he should go somewhere where he plays regularly, and he'll still be good enough. And eventually he'll get that move to Real Madrid. Liverpool, with Wijnaldum out, as I mentioned with Thiago, they've definitely got a spot opening up in their midfield, and I feel like Jurgen Klopp's man can offer him far more game time than if he'd moved to Real, even Juventus or Barcelona or Bayern. They've got pretty settled midfielders or good future midfielders. I mean, Barcelona have got Frankie de Jong, but they're also stacked with so many quality youngsters coming through. Bayern Munich have definitely got that Goretzka-Kimmich duo going on. As to Juventus, they might get rid of a few central midfielders, but they've got quite a few in that position as well. I just feel like Liverpool would be such a good move for Camavinga. Anyway, if they do want to make a move for him this summer, they could get him on the relative cheap because his deal runs out next summer, and obviously you end up wanting to lose him on a free. Moving on though, Paul Pogba has signed a new deal. Yes, that may be a little bit of a clickbaity title, guys, because the new deal is actually with Amazon Prime. They have signed a deal with the French Manchester United midfielder to produce a documentary about his life. This is unbelievable. Like, we've all seen the Manchester City and the Tottenham ones, very interesting behind the scenes sort of stuff. But the personal ones tend not to be so good. I'm looking at you, Antoine Griezmann, maybe Sergio Ramos as well. This behind the scenes thing is only going to fuel all sorts of media speculation. Like, they'll be looking at the smallest things, like, look at the way his TV is positioned at his house. He definitely wants to leave Manchester United. There'll be all loads of shit, and it looks like he's very, very desperate to set all these rumours about him being unhappy, the kind of guy he is, his work ethic, all this stuff to one side to show that he's a great guy. Personally, I have no doubt that Paul Pogba is a top bloke. I'm sure he's a lovely guy. He's an unbelievably talented midfielder. Do you just kind of want to see everything around him and all the focus about what he does on the pitch? Not really off it. Anyway, I certainly will be looking forward to this. I'm sure it'll be a great documentary. But yeah, I hope it just doesn't stir the pot and really put Paul Pogba in even much of a worse light. Because as I say, I think he looks like a great bloke and a fantastic footballer as well. Next up though, and to something a little bit more serious, and it's UEFA, and they've missed an opportunity to go ahead and really make a statement when it comes to kicking out racism in football. Slavia Prague's Andre Kudela, the guy who racially abused Rangers' Glenn Kamara, has been banned for 10 games. That's it. Glenn Kamara has been banned for 3 games for apparently assaulting him in the tunnel. Of course, assault normally not a very good thing, deserves a 3-game ban, but when you put it in the context of he's just been racially abused, this is ridiculous. Get rid of that 3-game ban, and the fact that he's only got 10 games, this is Kudela, is again such a bad thing to do because they had the opportunity to really say we do not stand for this at all, regardless of who the player is, who the club is. He's getting the maximum penalty. Apparently 10 games is the minimum you can get for racially abusing someone. I'm not saying that they can completely control what happens in the wider society, but certainly their sphere of influence is within football, and they could have made a statement about it. After 10 games, he just goes back to being a professional footballer and all the privileges and all the rights and all the protection that they've got within the game, and it's just not good enough. It was such an opportunity. Put it this way, this is absolutely bizarre. So Kamara, reacting to racist abuse, obviously, like I said before, not a great idea to hit somebody, but you can understand why. Gets a 3-game ban. Kudela gets a 10-game ban, and then, completely unrelated, a few months ago, Kieran Trippier, for apparently breaking betting rules, which was just him telling his mate that he's going to sign for Atletico Madrid, gets a 12-game ban. A few WhatsApp messages gets you 2 more games banned than racially abusing another player. He ran up, he knew he did, he knew what he was saying. He even came out and said it was in the heat of the moment. He apologises. The club have apologised for the stress that it caused Rangers and Glenn Kamara. So they knew that they did something wrong. Yet still, there's a statement from their lawyers saying that, oh, he's innocent and they might appeal the 10-game ban. I use the term utter nonsense on this channel a lot. That is up there with the most utterest of most nonsense. Anyway, moving on to a quick roundup of the rest of the day's transfer news, and Real Betis in La Liga are reportedly interested in taking Everton's Bernard at the end of the season. Sporting Lisbon want to make Pedro Porro's loan from Manchester City a permanent one in the summer. Arsenal goalkeeper Bernd Leno has said he is open to a new adventure, and there have been no concrete contract talks between himself and the club. And lastly but not least, in the rumour mill, that is who will be the next Bayern Munich manager. Apparently, Julian Nagelsmann has had no contact with the club, and Hansi Flick is obviously still in charge. So there you have it. That's all from me for today. Make sure you check out everything else we've got going on OneFootball. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.